And with that, I will turn it over to you, Mark, for some enchanted evening. Looking forward to hearing what you have to share with us tonight.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. So I'd like to begin this evening with a particular chant, or I could even call it a mantra that I basically that came to me, and it's a real nice way of opening a practice. And so it's basically 3 words. We'll chant the first word for a while, and then we'll chant the second word for a while, and then we chant the third word for a while, and then I'll tell you after the third chant, inhale and hold your breath, exhale, release, and I'll tell you to hold, and then take a couple breaths. And you can focus your energy on your third eye or your heart as you do this. And so when you're in stillness, not only focusing on that, but when you go into stillness, try to just feel that whatever energy center you want to work with. But those are the 2 that I would suggest.
Do you want us to be on mute, or do you want us to be off?
No, even though we discussed earlier about the transmission of sound, and us sounding like we're not in rhythm with each other, and it doesn't matter. I mean, because this is about learning and practicing, and it's great when we all sound together as a group in person. That's wonderful, but this is about learning these approaches. So we don't have to sound great to learn to do it. As a matter of fact, the most horrid singer on earth could do these practices and benefit from any of the practices that I teach. So it just doesn't matter. Okay, so the first word that we'll be chanting will be shalom, which in Hebrew means peace. It means hello and goodbye too, but we're using its meaning as peace. And then the next word we will use in English is home. And so shalom, that peace, we're going home to our inner home, which then the third word is om. So that is the mantra. So, I mean, one could do it as, if you found it as a practice you wanted to do within your own practices, you could either do it, shalom, home, home. So that's one way you could do it, or you could do it the way we're going to do it right now, and focus on the singular tone repetitively, and then I'll tell you when to switch. After each tone, we'll do a little silence, and then we'll go in the next tone. Y'all following? Questions? Okay. Shalom. Shalom. I can't hear anybody. Am I supposed to be up here?
Hey, Mark, all we hear is you doing shalom.
Yeah.
Are you doing home or om after?
No, we're going to do shalom, repetitive home, repetitive om. But okay. The first time I said one style is just, I demonstrated one style, but we're doing a different style.
And you want us to do it with you now? Okay.
Yeah, because the style I showed you is a really simple style that I could teach. You could follow shalom, home, om, and just do that as a monotone or as a creative chant mantra on your own. So okay. This is a different way. So you have a different way of approaching it as well. Okay, so join me.
Any questions? Mary, did you have a question?
I was going to ask the same one you asked.
Okay.
Do you want us to join you?
Yes. Okay, so does everybody have their sound turned on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So let's start. Um, and you can chant with your eyes open or your eyes closed. It all depends on what you're doing and what you personally prefer. So, so if I'm chanting with another, if I'm chanting in a duel, so the person is facing me, we're doing eye contact. We may want to have our eyes open and just look into each other's eyes as we chant, or we may want to close our eyes if we're doing a duel like that, and just feel us each other receiving, giving and receiving from our third eye as we're chanting, and that's from our heart too. Either of those. I mean, I mean, of all the chakras that I work with all the chakras, but when I'm working with chanting and helping people facilitate all of our personal transformations and evolution, spiritual evolution, when I'm doing that, yeah, you don't know, Mary. I have long COVID, and it affects my short-term memory. And so if I miss something, you guys just need to tell me the 2 or 3 sentences before, and it usually comes back. So I'll give that one up, and we'll just start chanting. But so now you know too, and Kathy, so that I've been able to work just fine. It's just, we all have our stuff, right?
Right.
And that's the way it goes. And we all have some of the same stuff and all different stuff, but in the end, we're all going through this journey on this, of what I see as spirit in a body, in this particular physical form, at this particular point in time and space. I don't know whether it's all the same point in time and space, whether it's just one point in time and space, or whether there really is past, present, and future, or whether that in its own way is our own ego mind's delusion. And I can't answer that question. That's something we all have to answer for ourselves within. Okay, so let's start to chant. So I'll start. And okay, let me check to see if I'm on a frequency that you can do. So I go, Shalom. So call back. Shalom.
Shalom.
Is that okay frequency?
Fine.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, let's go. Shalom.
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 Hold it as long as you can. Shalom.
Shalom.
Close your eyes and feel it. Shalom.
Shalom.
Feel it in your right foot. Shalom.
Shalom.
Feel it in your left hand. Shalom.
Shalom.
Feel it in your heart. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Your heart, chant it as a love song. Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom.
Inhale. Hold. Exhale slowly. As close to double as you can of the inhale. Hold. Take a few breaths, deep breaths. And feel the heart energy, your intentions. When we chant, we can move the energy with our intentions wherever we want it to go. Feel the dance between sound and no sound, between space and no space. Okay, let's go on to home. Thinking of the concept of shalom bringing us to our spiritual home, that inner peace. So I will begin. Home.
Om.
Home.
Om.
Home.
Om.
Home. Home.
Om.
Home.
Om. Om.
Home.
Om.
Home.
Om.
Inhale and hold. Exhale. The end of your exhale, hold. Inhale. Take some bigger breaths now. And listen to the stillness. Send your intentions of energy and notice when you do that, if the energy goes to wherever, if you have any sensation wherever you send it. Okay, and let's go to Om now. Om. 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 Just keep chanting. We don't have to start at the same time. That'll even work better with the space skipping. Keep chanting and move the energy to your third eye. Between your eyes. Go into stillness. Inhale and hold your breath. Release slowly. Then when you're all out of breath, hold and do a Kegel. A couple Kegels while you're holding your breath and feel as if you're pushing the energy up through the chakras. Release. Breathe. Okay, return. just the way I teach chanting and different approaches is really potent, as I was saying earlier, as a regular practice in just stilling the mind. It's we really need to still our mind. We really need stillness. We've created a world that's much too noisy right now, and we all need that peace inside. And no matter how no matter how we think we're getting it together, we all have those buttons that I look at my life as a process of learning how to undo. So I have ultimately no buttons to push. But the fewer buttons I have to push, the happier I am. So chanting's a really good tool for that. So what do you have to say about what you just did? What are your thoughts? What are your questions?
Clears my head completely. I actually feel a little lightheaded. I'm sure that's from the breathing too, but yeah, gets the cobwebs out.
Yeah. The lightheadedness, the breathing, but also, when we do breath work, there's ways you can increase your energy with breath work. There's ways that you can go back between sympathetic, which is our accelerator, and parasympathetic, which is our brakes, nervous system. You can dance between different dimensions, so to speak. And the more you explore, the more you practice, the more you have that ability. Thanks, Joanne. Anybody else have anything they want to share?
I felt a sense of grounding.
Okay. Nice.
In my feet, something in my feet, and I thought I was connecting with the earth. So I will do it again.
All right.
Thank you.
Did any of you know when I did the right foot, left hand, which was just a random thing that I did?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody notice anything, or did that get you from your hand, from your hands to your third eye at all?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Made them vibrate.
I think Michael has a question.
Michael.
I was just going to share that when you talked about focusing on different things and you mentioned the third eye, I felt it like from high heart, up in here and all the way up. I could really feel it at my third eye and just went all the way up. So I didn't feel the grounding as much, but going up and there's one lady that I work with, she says grounding to her is both ways. You've got go to the earth star up to the sun star and back, and she switches hands. And
actually there's a practice that when I'm doing my own practices, I clean out my energy system by grounding myself, kind of eliminating the cobweb, so to speak, and then I'll go into then elevating my energy once I've kind of purified myself, and to raise the energy to go into high spiritual spaces. Or
tell us how to ground yourself.
Pardon?
What do you do to ground yourself?
Oh, well, what I'm doing is I'm imagining I get into a space where I can feel the energy from my crown. Well, one of the ways that you can start learning to, if you have troubles, sometimes moving the energy at will, one thing that helps is when you're chanting is like allowing yourself to feel the motion of the vibrations. So you might sometimes the vibrations will just move you, but sometimes it's kind of like a back and forth motion like this. And sometimes I'm just kind of like this. Sometimes I just have my arms out like this, and that actually, all of those create different spaces within you that are all good, are all desirable. But those are, and also remember I mentioned the Kegel. That Kegel is no. Steve, do you know what a Kegel is?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I mean, all the ladies know, but I didn't know if you knew. So I
Well,
wanted
I do that in my meditations, and I was going to ask you about that because it is a method of bringing the energy up, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
do we do that every time on the exhale, or I know you only did it one time, but would you typically do it every time when you exhale on the out?
I would I kind of like, I don't plan it out. I just start chanting, and then eventually I start integrating the holds, like you said. And so it's just kind of how I feel instinctively as I'm chanting. And then it's like, okay, I'm not thinking about it. It's like, okay, but I feel like I want to move the energy now. Or I feel like the energy needs to be moved now, and I need to push it up, or push it, so that's what I do basically. It's just, it's intention. I think I mentioned this last week. I know I mentioned it in the one session I did last year. But vibration plus intention equal manifestation.
Mm.
That's a sound healing formula. Vibration plus intention equal manifestation.
Okay, great. I had one more question for you.
Sure.
I found that when I'm doing the
Mm-hmm.
when I do the I'm vibrating in my like second chakra dantian area. When I do the O, I'm vibrating in my heart. When I do the M, I'm vibrating in my head. So it's almost like it's flowing through me as I'm going
Yeah. Yeah.
It's coming up.
Chanting like that can do that, and can do that rather effectively. So that's cool.
Okay.
So okay. Let's move into okay, so we're going to work with today, we're going to work with sounding chakras. And we're going to work with some different approaches. And so the first approach I'd like, I should go through some guidelines first in terms of chanting. I mentioned the Kegel. First, even though last week, at times we may sing or chant loudly in a group, or energetically we may feel that much of the time we're chanting very quietly. And do y'all remember the singer actor Fabian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
he has a really cool quote. I couldn't believe I found this. The subtle sound is the key to healing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the kind of music he used to sing in the shows he played in, what did he know at that point in time? So that was kind of a kind of a historical quote that I found that I thought was really interesting. So it's, and when we ratchet it up, at some point we want to come down. Actually, most of y'all know what kirtan is, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody not?
No,
Oh, okay. Kirtan
No.
is when, pardon? Do you?
I don't know either.
Oh,
No.
okay. Kirtan is when a group of people get together in a group and they take one mantra at a time, and they may do that mantra for, 20 minutes, an hour. In India, they might do that mantra for 10 hours. But they do, and generally, when I began practicing and was young, what would happen is we would start to the chant would begin very quiet, almost whispery, and be very quiet for a extended period of time, and then it would gradually, slowly build to a peak in tone, and then it would hold that for a little bit, and then it would come back down into that quietness, and then you're ultimately in stillness. That's the way, as groups, that they used to do kirtan, from my perspective, correctly. Today, when I've been to these days, recent years, going back past even pre-COVID, when I'd be at different yoga festivals, and they do kirtan, they would do kirtan, and the quiet part there wouldn't be much of. They'd start it, and all of a sudden it'd be like really rock and roll jamming, and it'd be a lot of fun. And then it kind of quiet, a real sharp quiet down, and then not much silent space, and then on to the next one. And you might do one for a half, whatever length of time. Typically a half hour might be at a yoga retreat or festival, might be pretty, half hour to an hour might be pretty typical. But that's what kirtan is. And so today they're blowing it by, I only mention it because they're blowing it by, it's still fun, but they're missing, it's not balanced because they're missing the sound of silence. And the sound of silence is really important. As a matter of fact, I can't display it here because I don't have anybody to display it on, but I have a technique with the singing bowls where I actually work with the singing bowl over your third eye. And I'm not touching you, but the energy in the bowl and my energy and your energy are all entwining. So I'm balancing the energy within the third eye. So that's kind of this is a lovely, unique, very rare style. It's really high, but frequency is, because it's so high, it's kind of sharp, but it goes really nice with other bowls that are longer.
I only heard it when he hit it. I didn't hear it after that.
And Mark, the Zoom is silencing it. So that was where the audio setting might come in handy.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Well, we'll hopefully we'll figure that out this week.
But the energy will still work.
Yeah. And then here's a really cool one. I don't know what you can hear.
A little
Oh, I
bit.
got them both going. If you can hear them.
Mark, if you put your audio profile and your audio settings to original sound for musicians, it should play everything.
Okay, well, let's figure that out. I don't want to lose teaching time.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll do it. Come on, early, like at 25 to 7 next time we can play with them.
Yeah. Okay, so
Could I make a suggestion?
yeah.
Do you have a larger bowl?
Yeah.
So something that I like to do is I actually put it upside down on my head and then ring it. And you want to talk about opening your third eye and your crown chakra? Wow.
Oh yeah,
I've got that too.
Mark taught us that.
There. Yeah. Exactly. My
I love to
favorite.
do this.
My favorite.
It is.
Yeah, that is, and I actually have some large bowls that are light enough that they're not. I have some that are so heavy, they'd be pretty hard on the head. But
Yeah.
the good news is when I've given individual bowl treatments to people, I've never dropped a bowl on somebody's head. So that's it's like
good news.
like in over a decade and more than a decade and a half. So that's good news. So I don't have to worry about that. Okay. So other guidelines, too much wrong energy, noise, sound, and that's what I was talking about, can ultimately disturb the individual or the group etheric field. So sometimes when I do a bowl concert, a singing bowl concert, there might be one or two people that their energy is setting off the whole group energy in a way that's is not particularly useful. And so I have to kind of instinctively, energetically work with that so that I kind of balance that out and bring the group into harmony and balance with where there's a couple people that are kind of, I'm not talking sonically, I'm talking energetically, but it's something I can feel in a room, and then you just kind of work with it. So that's another guideline. Remember, you can you can use your voice for sacred sound. When you use your voice with sacred sound, it can take you anywhere. It can take you in inner space and various spiritual domains. I mentioned about intentions, talked about that. And when we chant, we develop the ability to enhance our ability to sing basically the essence of our soul. So when you think about chanting, think about putting yourself in a space where you're singing the essence of your soul, your spirit, or ultimate oneness, inherent oneness. Translate when you study independently different mantras and chants. There's mixed points of view about knowing the translation and not knowing the translation. Translation sometimes will distract us, and if we're just chanting, not knowing the meaning of the words in another language, that helps us to not make any judgments about the words that we might unconsciously or consciously make. And on the other hand, sometimes the use of the translation, it might be useful enough that it's worth using. And in two languages, Sanskrit and Hebrew, two that I use today, they both have what? I was saying, what's happening?
I don't know.
I'm getting echoed.
Oh.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. How is that?
Oh,
Better?
okay. Yeah. Okay, I was saying in Hebrew and in Sanskrit, there's actually an aspect of, there's not just the meaning of the words, but there's the hidden meanings. And within Hebrew, there's numerical meanings, and you add up those numerical meanings in different passages, and they have completely different, it's like the mystic version underneath what the people are told. And so, and Sanskrit enunciations, these Sanskrit words were developed to initiate specific vibrations. And so each of these Sanskrit words, when we use them, have particular important context and experiencing them. So those are interesting aspects of the language. I will, next week, we will have some work with a mantra with length well, I'll probably do it in Tibetan rather than Sanskrit, but it's real close. It's just a slight variation, but and you'll get to feel a little bit of that. So now, what I want to start going. Those are the guidelines on the chakras, and we're not going to. And so, Jonathan Goldman developed a technique where he came up with different sounds from studying different systems for different chakras to amplify, work with each chakra. And these sounds are simply sounds from him working with a variety of systems that he came up with that work for him and work for a lot of other people that he teaches. They're not, it doesn't mean they're the sounds, what I say, basically you can just simply tone just the same tone and activate all of the chakras. Or you can have specific tones for specific chakras to activate the specific chakra. Or you can go into, so we got Jonathan's system with specific tones. We got the system where you just use one tone, and then there's a third system, which is the ancient Indian system, where you use what are the bija tones, which are Sanskrit tones for each chakra to chant with each chakra. So let's start with Jonathan's tones as a guideline. And so, do you all have something to write with?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So write this down. The first sound, so you'll be able to refer to it. So I won't have to. You'll know where we're going when I go to. I'll go second chakra, first chakra, second chakra. You'll know what direction we're going. So the first sound is however you want to write that. I just write it as UH, but actually it sounds better if I'm doing it more like
Is that
if I go Tibetan on you, then it sounds nicer. But of course, I can't hear what you're hearing over the speaker. So I don't know what sounds nice and doesn't. But I know that. But you can work with these as we work. So okay, the first sound is that one I told you. So the next sound, and that's for the chakra at the root, and the next sacral chakra is oo. So you could just write that out as I write that out as O. That's how I write it out. I mean, there's not a right way to write it out. It's just how you can remember the sound. And then the next third chakra, solar plexus, is O.
OH?
Yeah. And the heart chakra is so that's good. I like that one.
Like AH.
Yeah, AH. And then we go up to the throat chakra, and we do E, but I write it as EYE. So I know that it's a long E, so it's like a E. Okay, and then the next one for the third eye is basically some books just say Om, and other books say AUM for the third eye and say Om for the crown chakra. It's kind of silly because they're kind of both the same thing. So for the third eye and crown chakra, we just use Om.
Do you have one for the eighth chakra?
Okay. I'm working on people have different chakra systems. I'm working on a different 7 chakra system, but I do have an 8th chakra one. And it's the soft spot of the baby's head, where the soft spot of the baby's head. And that one, we'll do that. We'll do that separate. That one is real tricky, but it's basically the tone projected up there of hoarse today. Let me get down a little bit. So it's ner.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we do is let's chant each one. We'll chant each one 3 times. Chant it. We'll chant. Breathe in and and we're sending the energy down to our crown. That's my long COVID brain. We're sending the energy up to the crown. As we have these things happen, it's nice when we can find humor in it. It makes it way better. So we're chanting it like that, and we then experience the stillness between each chant. We'll do it 3 times, and then we'll go first chakra, second chakra, and we'll go up to chakras. And you got it on your paper. You can look and then close your eyes with each sign if you want, or you can look or whatever. And you'll have me as a guide. You'll be hearing the tone, and don't worry about being on the same. Usually, I would recommend starting with low notes and moving to higher notes as you go up. But with my hoarseness and being on the computer, I think that we don't have to worry too much about our harmonics. We're just doing this to have the experience, okay?
So, Mark, you said we're going to do it 3 times. So would we do the first chakra 3 times and then the silence, and then the second chakra 3 times in the silence?
Yeah, and project your energy to that chakra as you're doing it.
Okay.
Everybody understand? Okay.
Yes.
Take a couple deep breaths. Push it down. Let's go into stillness now. Breathe deep. And project the energy to work with your root chakra. You might even feel a line going all the way up through the chakras. Or imagine a line through your spine, going right up center of your spine, going right up there, zapping you. Okay, next. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, I didn't do the silence. I'll start again. Oh, this is the first one. Ooh. It's your second chakra, your sacral chakra. Not your second one. Usually associated with the genitals, creativity, sexuality. Ooh. When it's in balance, really nasty things people do. Anyway. Ooh. Whoa. Ooh. And the third time you chant it, see if you can connect the bottom, the first one and the second one together. Ooh. 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 Breathe. So now we go to the solar plexus and we go to O. O.
Oh.
Oh, that was my first one. It was a little high for me. Oh.
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 Oh. Ooh, the heart chakra is Ah. Go to the heart chakra. Ah. Feel it like you're singing agape love. Love is that all that exists is love, being love. Ah. Oh. Oh. So as you do this, when you go into the silence, you feel your energy right at the chakra you're working with. If you can imagine a sense now, as you're breathing slow and deep, see if you're connecting all 2, 3, 4 of those chakras. Again, slow, deep breathing again. And we're going to go to the 5th chakra, throat, which is I.
Oh.
As you're in your silent space, you really want to try to Sense feeling the invisible. Okay, now we go to the third eye. We go Om. God is the first one. Breathe. And now we go to this crown chakra with Om again. Oh, a little higher though. Well, you guys do it. Oh, I start, you do it. Silence between each one. And now just see if you can imagine connecting the energy of all your chakras together with them rising. And inhale and hold your breath and do a Kegel. Don't hold it, just push the Kegel and let go. Push the Kegel, let go. And release your breath. Again, do the Kegel. Push it. Push it. Now just feel. Breathe. And allow yourself to feel whatever alignment, energetic alignment that you've manifested this evening. Shanti, Shanti. Okay. So let's hear about what that questions and what that was like for you.
It really sent me flying.
Did you see how unembarrassed I was when at the top chakra? I just couldn't do it with my hoarseness today. You see, when I say it doesn't matter what your voice sounds like, I'm a voice instructor, and it doesn't matter what your voice sounds like. You can't always control it. I mean, gosh, Cian Dion has some kind of condition where she's lost her voice.
Yeah, right.
There's another famous musician that had something like that happen, a similar disorder too. I mean, there's another one that lost her voice for a bunch of years and it came back after they didn't use it. So, and they're able to be a musician again. I can't remember who that is, but okay. So give me some feedback. The rest of you, did you feel anything? Was it difficult? Was it easy? What did you expect? Did you feel any imbalances, any balances? Or were you too busy kind of learning it and that was distracted from experiencing it? Just kind of, yeah.
I think that's more what I was doing. I was reading the words and then trying to do the chant, and I forgot to stop and breathe quiet in between. And so I kept getting off. But
yeah.
that's where I went offline. Yeah.
Okay, but that's okay because now you know how to do it, and you can practice it on your own at home with the silent spaces. And you can stay on those silent spaces, each of you, for as long as you want to stay in those silent spaces. And you can, and if you want to do this as a practice, as an extended practice at home, you could do like a long practice. You could do like 7 of them, 7 on each chakra. And you got a really deep, lengthy meditative practice if you do that. And quite simple, quite a simple practice too. Like easy tones to learn and memorize as you're doing them every day. And so you don't have to look at them then. Or when you look at the tone, as you're learning, Kathy, and you look at the tones written down, you can look at them and then as you're doing them and then close your eyes during the silent part. When you do it on your own, or you can remember to do that then.
Is it important to do them all 1 through 7 at one meditation, or can you do 1 and come back a half hour later and do 2? Come back a little bit later and do 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's just when you're doing them as a whole, it's kind of it can make it a very, very deep meditation.
Okay.
Whereas if you're going just for one chakra, then you're going for basically working on that one chakra, and you're less you maybe meditate, but you're less meditation oriented and more outcome oriented in terms of what you're doing with that specific chakra.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
So if we wanted to do a little research on our own, would you recommend the Jonathan Goldman?
Yes. Yeah, he's got his books. His Healing Sounds, I think, was his first book, and it should have chakras as vowels. He's also, he's great. And so, well, let's see. I haven't heard from Michael and Mary. Mary, what happened for you?
I thought it was very powerful. I'm very much interested in doing that. I really liked it when all the chakras were done and we reached the crown, and I could feel I couldn't wait to get there. So I have trouble meditating. So
it's really funny because when the computer's got you talking, it's got your it's like it's doing with sound, it's doing with your face. It's mouth different words. It's like not consistent. It's like out of order.
It is. I've got the Zoom blocking your face, and I wanted to move down so I could see everybody, and I just don't know the computer well enough yet. So I've tried to scroll the Zoom, 2 pages of Zoom. I've cut the top, most of your head off, and I can't see you on the screen. So I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
There you are.
No, it's I think what's happening is Mary's internet bandwidth is low, and so it's for her image is freezing while she's talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you're doing everything good, Mary. You're fine. You're not cutting off Mark's head. That isn't a problem.
Well, we're having a big rainstorm at the moment, and that when that happens, we get a low bandwidth.
Oh,
So-
okay. Yeah. Let's see. Did you, has everybody shared with me now? Every, I think everybody had. Have you, Michael?
I really like the silence
Okay.
part between each one. That helped me ground and go up the top of my head. It was really like what Steve said. Whoa. But yeah, I love that silence in between it. I felt that was because we talk about life is so noisy, and also just being quiet in ourselves. I think is really insightful on many levels. So I really like that part of it.
Thank you. Thank you. Did I hear from you, Michael?
No, but she just said what I was gonna say. I like,
Okay.
And I'm sorry, but I'm muting because my dogs are barking at deer really crazy. So I'm here, but I'm just muting my.
Oh, okay.
Well, so
Yeah.
Mark, when I love the silence so much that I'd love to stay there, but my body's like, you better start breathing, because I exhale and then I'm in that beautiful, peaceful silence. What is your solution for that? Because we kind of have to breathe.
Well, then you start just doing slow, deep breathing and hang on to that space.
Yeah, okay.
And the more you practice and the more it carries over to hanging onto that same state of consciousness that you're talking about.
Hamid Bey said that when he would put himself into suspended animation, he would take a sip of air every 7 hours.
These days, I'd really like to be able to do that. That seems really appealing. I don't know that one's going to be out there for me in this lifetime, but that ability. But that's cool. I love that. Okay, so for efficiency, I want to give you a couple other ways to do one. I'm going to just demonstrate. I think I kind of demonstrated it. No, actually, I'm going to demonstrate a couple pieces of this. So, okay, the single tone approach, I would just go, first chakra. Second chakra. Third chakra. So that's the single tone, the monotone approach. And you would do the silence between, you do the same number of repetitions or whatever you're choosing, and the same holds, and everything's the same, except you're just using one tone. You could just make up any tone you want. You have, or any tone that you get infused with by the spirit world. You can, so yeah, it gives you a lot of freedom. And then another way to approach this technique is what I call the siren approach. And the siren, this is hard for me today with my hoarseness, but I can at least give you an idea. So the siren approach is where I just take a tone, and I don't even simply have to go all the way through the chakras. I can go through my whole body, because you have all the nadis, all the thousands of, energy, probably more than thousands, probably millions, but tiny energetic imprints. So you can just, so here's how siren goes. Siren doesn't sound pretty, but it's a powerful tool to work on yourself. I wouldn't do a group siren. I would teach siren, but I wouldn't do a group chant siren, because it'd be awful. So it'd be it's basically like this. I can't do it on one breath today, but You could
Hey,
do it on
Mark,
2 or 3.
your microphone, is fading out. Could you kind of describe what you're doing? Because we couldn't really hear it. We just heard the beginning.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. So what I'm doing is I'm taking one sound, any sound. So let's say I take the sound, I could take the sound Thai and do it. I'm just making up a so I'm making something even Sanskrit or Tibetan or whatever. So I start out with at the lowest tone, and I'm toning ta, but then as I move up my body, I'm moving up Thai like a siren. So it's just going just like a siren all the way up through instead of each chakra, you're just using it as a siren up and then back down. And and you might even have to use it as a siren. It depends on what your breath capacity is, 3 times, 4 times to get to the top. But what happens as you can do, and if you get it in twice, that's great. But what happens is, hold on. If you master this approach, you can, where you find there's gaps in your voice, where you miss coming up a note, a quarter note, half note or something, and there's just a gap, or it's just weak at that spot, and then it gets stronger again. That's where you can identify, energetic blockages or weaknesses or areas where you need to work at that particular day or point in time. So that's the usefulness of it. Since you couldn't hear me, is my explanation comprehensible?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
My question was, with one breath, you go up and then down and then up and then down.
Oh, yeah. If you do one breath, you go all the way up. It's hard enough to do. You can do one breath, just go all the way up on one breath. And then, take a couple breaths and then go all the way down with the one breath. And just do it to whatever your capability is. The more tones you can hold at once, the more potent it will be ultimately for you. But it becomes, it takes quite a bit of practice, but you start noticing, I can't get this tone out in between these 2 tones. And it's like, there's a spot I need to work on. So that's just an interesting adaptation. And for the sake of time, I want to give you another version of this same practice of, amplifying the chakras, of raising the chakras, and so forth. Or as I wrote on my sheet, as my notes, I wrote, I call them sacred utterances. Anyway, I don't know how I don't ever even use that word. So it was funny when I made a note and I wrote above it. So anyway, okay, so are we good with that approach? You all understand that now?
I did have one question. You said if you have a problem with part of the siren, that you need to work on that. What would you do to work on that? Would you just work on chanting that tone, or how would you work? Or is it tied to an emotion or a part of the body that needs work? Or
well, you could have somebody tone into that, be 3 or 4 inches above you. That cat, you could be 3 or 4 inches above him in a particular spot, and you could just start toning into that spot and that will help then strengthen that spot. That's one technique you can do. You can do hand work, energy work to work that area if you work with your hands energetically. If you work with your third eye energetically, you can do it with your third eye. Well, it's kind of hard. Yeah, you can do it with if you do, that's that's really subtle and abstract to try to take your third eye to go at those spots you find. That's pretty advanced. That's very advanced, actually. But I like to, I like, I like what the way I like to teach is I like to teach lots of things that are practical, that are easy to integrate, that and that are very powerful, and then add on to that, which you'll see next week. More complex approaches, I should say, and you'll learn about a more complex approach next week. So, but this week, yeah, we have. So this is there are in Sanskrit. I told you there are the root are the not the root bija would be the roots, Muladhara. Anyway, the base chakra. But so okay, so the tones on the chakras on this one. So if you use a chart and right next the so the first chakra is Lam. So this would be one of the Asian Indian ways of chanting it. There's others as well, but this is one that I'm familiar with and I work with. So the second chakra is Vam.
V-A-M or V?
V-A-M. The third chakra is Ram.
What? Could you spell that third chakra?
R-A-M.
R-A-M, Ram.
R-A-M. Okay.
As in the deity Ram or Rama. Rama, Rama, Rama. Okay. The fourth chakra is Yam, Y-A-M. The fifth chakra is Ham, H-A-M. But remember, on all of these, it's a small a, because when you see Ham, the brain wants to go ham, the food. So Ham, they're all Lam, Vam, Ram, Yam, Ham. And then the last two, the third eye and crown are Om. I don't need to smack my crown to teach you that. You naughty crown. I got to be silly for a minute. I just can't help it. I've been thinking about becoming a unicorn. There we go.
It looks dangerous.
Maybe that'll be my next life.
Lights in like a kaleidoscope.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, when the light shines through that thing, it's crystals are so cool because they grow and they change and they respond to your energy and they're just so that's just an interesting a toy I picked up many years ago, a spiritual toy that I was lucky to find and really lucky. So this would be doing the same practice as we started tonight, but now you're trying it out with Sanskrit, and so what we just did. This is with these other things. I mean, so I'm just going to run through one tone at a time. Oh, I don't know if you'll hear me. So,
Can I ask a question?
yeah.
For the throat chakra, is that Yam, Y-A-M?
Yeah.
And for the second chakra, that's also Yam?
No, Vam.
Vam with the V. Oh,
V,
Vam. Oh, I
yeah.
got you. Can't read my own writing.
I have that problem.
Okay.
Except
Gotcha.
when I how can I put it? Before I had long COVID, I didn't usually have notes when I would teach, but with since I have long COVID, I have notes. And why do I was saying that? I don't know. I'm sorry. as soon as I get into that world, things that you see this spiritual world, you know, when I'm in spirit space, I'm not, I'm not, I don't have long COVID, you know, I'm just in spirit land, and and when I'm teaching you, other than the hoarseness I feel in my voice, and whenever there's a little slight memory thing I needed to get reminded of, I don't, other than that, I don't have, I'm just blissing out, you know. Bliss, actually, I guess you'd say I'm blissing in. I'm blissing within. So thank you. I love the opportunity to be able to share this with folks. So I thought it, you know, based on time, it would not be practical to do all of those, but I thought if I got you started with the practice and you knew how to practice, then you could come up. I got 4 different ways of practicing this approach with the chakras. 1, you know, the 3, moving the chakras, and the 3rd, finding energetic imbalances and working with those imbalances. So the one approach I taught is 4 approaches for the chakras. So any questions?
The Sanskrit really resonates with me
It's
a lot.
Kathy, it's a sacred language. It's believed that those intonations aren't simply coincidental in terms of the meaning of the words or anything. They're specific enunciations that were designed to do exactly what we're doing, being able to help us basically to help us become enlightened, proceed on the path of enlightenment. And so it's you notice something about Sanskrit. It's very powerful.
I had a friend who would do these sounds to bless her food.
That's a great idea.
She'd go through, I just text her like, I'm thinking of you, because she would do these. I was hoping that's what you would do today on the different types of chakras. Yeah, very cool. Thank you.
Cool. Well, that's nice. That's one of the things that's funny about my work is sometimes things just happen like that, and they just connect like that. And you know, when I was young, I thought it was kind of wow, and now it's like, isn't this an amazing experience we're all having on Earth, and that all these things that we don't perceive necessarily are interconnected. I mean, it's absolutely, even I was talking to a friend today about spiritual families, about there's people you connect with. I talked to a friend of mine today who we used to, when I lived in Midland, he's a chiropractor. All his children are adults, and they're all chiropractors. So there's 7 chiropractors in the family. His wife's a chiropractor, and we've always been like blood family, but we're not blood family, but we're family. And I haven't seen them since COVID. And I was talking about, I'm hoping that I get into a space where we're able to do that this summer sometime. This is where when I drop my script, what I'm teaching, that's when I'm most likely to lose the spot. Oh yeah. Okay. So then, so I talked to him today, and he's like, if I didn't see him for, you know, if I lived another 10 years and he lived another 10 years and we didn't see each other and we got together again, it'd be as if we were never apart. And I had that experience in the spring with a friend of mine, a close friend that we lived together some of the time when I was in graduate school, and I had not seen him in 45 years. Wow. And his partner, she was doing an educational conference in some town near Manistee, I think it was. So we drove down there. I can't remember Manistee, Ludington. It's in those area. And so we drove down there and had dinner together. And it was like, so his partner, she was interacting with, the whole time with my wife. And he also had his daughter and his daughter's partner. And his daughter's partner is really interested in working with the bulls potentially, which was kind of interesting. But John and I, it was like all of a sudden here we were, and no time had gone by. 45 years had gone by, and here we were, and it's like, and that's, I think there's a certain spiritual family that we connect with people around us. And I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it works, but it just seemed to be something you might have. Any of you noticed that in your life at all?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, I had a question,
Okay.
if I could. Last time you talked about, holding, inhaling and exhaling double. So like at one point you said you inhaled to 10 and you exhaled to 20. So you exhale to 20 and then you hold to 20. How fast do you count when you say 20? Because if you count slow, it's a long time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to show. Okay. I don't have as much breath capacity as I usually have today, but let me just show you. I'm going to do an inhale, okay? And what I'll do is I'll inhale, and then I'll put my finger up when I'm holding. And then I'll put my finger up again when I'm exhaling. And I'll put my finger up again when I'm exhaling doing the exhale doing the hold of the exhale. Okay?
And you're going to be counting to 20 during this now?
I'll be counting the 10 on the inhale. And I'm not going to count the holds right now for convenience sake. I'll do the 10-20 ratio like I showed you. Okay.
You could just tell me how you count. Like, do you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or do you go 1?
No, I don't. It's a feeling that I've done it for so many years. It's like it's just inside of me.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted to show you. I can show you better with just sound in my finger. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Wait, hold on. Let me start. I'm starting now. Okay. That's now. I don't expect you to be able to do that length of time, and that's me on a weekday. I don't mean a weekday like the days of the week. That's me on a WEAK where my voice is weak.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah, but so you can see, but we train our breath capacity. So it's just practice. It's just time. So I was born with severe asthma. So I probably was meant karmically to do work with sound and breath because that's part of my healing myself, and so actually this is crazy. This is a funny story though. So I wanted to, a number of years ago, I wanted to just stop taking all my inhalers because they had me on inhalers every day of my life, to prevent and to treat. And I was thinking I think the inhalers are starting to make me sick. And so I went to my doctor and I said, I want you to test me and see if you think I'm at a place now where I can just stop using inhalers except when I'm sick. And so the nurse gave me a peak flow, whatever they call it, spirometer. And she did it to me 4 times as I'm blowing out the out breath, taking it in and blowing it out. And the 5th time she goes, I got to talk to the doctor. She walks out and the doctor comes back and he goes, he goes, you're doing great. But according to the test would say you're in a severe bout of an asthma. I can't say the word right now, but I'll use the old word attack. It's not really attack. It's asthma, inflammation, explanation. You're choking it. So, but the reason the test said that is he said that your inhalation capacity was 5 times greater in that test than my exhalation capacity. And the test is, and because of that, it was thinking there was something wrong with me. And he was saying, you're doing great. You can stop taking all your inhalers, except when you're sick. So, and now since I've had, now it's a thing where, if anything, with having been on for the autoimmune condition that I got, have 11, been on 11 months of prednisone and just been off it as of February. Yeah, I have a lot to work with, a lot of physical challenges, but you know, this workout is so good for the physical challenges because it's epi, it's above our highest self. We're, you know, inner self that we're trying to achieve. It's our divine self. It's the God goddess within us that is all of us. It's all of us separate and all of us one, just one, all at the same time. And so it's pretty amazing. So let me tell you a little bit about next week. Notes. Where did it go? Is that it? No? Is that it? No. Oh, there we go. Okay. I don't really need them, but so next week, we are gonna work on we haven't done this yet. We're gonna work intensively on what I would call the Billboard top 1 in the top 10 of Tibetan hits, Tibetan Buddhist hits. And so we're going to be doing, and this is the mantra that they do when they do the prayer wheels, and we're gonna do that mantra. We're going to learn all about its various meanings, and because its meanings, this is one of the mantras. I think it's useful to understand all the associations with it, and so that's in store. That might be that whole practice and teaching maybe take up the entire class. It's a really powerful teaching and practice. Or I always have other stuff. I always have way more stuff in my mind to share, and if things take shorter than I think they're going to take, but usually things take much longer than I think they're going to take. So, because you guys are experiencing, and that's good. I mean, that's what this is about. So that's a little bit about what we'll be doing next week. Those that did not see, again, I want to remind you the video from last week. It would be really good for you to get that and watch the video so that you're all caught up. And Steve, if you could send an email out to the people who weren't able to make it this week, who will be here next week. If you could give them a reminder to try to check out this video before the next week. Next week would be, I guess it doesn't absolutely matter, because next week is kind of separate and unique from, completely different than what we're doing today, a completely different approach. But
Is that what you called, Mark? Sorry, the tone associations?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
great. I had that in my notes. All right, cool. Thank you.
yeah.
As soon as this recording is processed for tonight, I'll ask Brenda to send everyone who is registered links to the first and second week. So, because some people missed this week, some people missed last week. That way you can watch it all before the final week, which will be a week from tonight.
Yeah, that's perfect. And because that way, then we don't end up having somebody have missed something and then they're lost on something. Because even though what I'm doing is different, there's enough, the intent of what we're trying to do is the same. And so from that perspective, that it's useful to have the complete content.
Right.
And to make it more, so it doesn't seem disjointed.
Yeah. Very
Okay,
good.
I got it. That's how I said. So it should be a really, it should be kind of quite a, this is a really powerful chant. It should be, it should be very, very interesting, intriguing, I should say. So, excuse me, I'll look forward to all your experiences and questions and feedback. Well, anything before we sign off today? Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. I love sharing this work. I have had for ever since I spent the first 28 years of my career as a psychotherapist, as mid-management and senior management with a multi-county community mental health system. And then I hung out until I would wait for my karma to find what I was supposed to do next. I hung out in academia for a couple of years teaching. And then then there was a sign. This is a great story. There was a sign in, I was doing a road trip with my son, and we'd gone to Yosemite, and we had gone to, I can't remember all the different places. I said, maybe did we go to Joshua Tree? Anyway, we were coming back, and we're in Berkeley, and we get up in the morning for breakfast, and we decide to go a particular direction to look for some restaurants or where we'd eat. And as we're walking that direction, there's a sign on a telephone pole, and I read signs on telephone poles. and it said Himalayan Fare. and I said, and it was in some neighborhood in Berkeley somewhere in a park. And I said, Sean, I go, I don't know why, but we need to go to this. And he goes, but I had all these fun things planned out for you to do in San Francisco, in Berkeley. And he goes, but Dad, I know if it's important. If you're getting this instinct, we need to go. So then we went there. And he said only an hour. Well, we were there for a couple hours, and that's where my bowl work started, because there was a bowl there. There was a bunch of singing bowls, and there was a bowl there, and it was like I picked it up and I played it, and it was like I said, Sean, I don't know why. I had another singing bowl I had bought as a gift previously in some training, and I gave it to my son as a gift. But I wasn't like a singing bowl master or anything. I didn't really know. I hadn't been trained and practiced or anything yet. And so that sign, and I said to him, I don't know why, but it just seems like it doesn't make any sense, but it seems like I'm supposed to buy this and take this home with me. And, boy, I don't really like flying with extra stuff. But it just seems like, and he goes, I don't know why either, Dad, but I think you're supposed to get it. So I bought it. And then he was, at the time, he was a spa director of a La Costa Resort and Spa in Carlsbad, California. And he didn't know this was going on, but we got back to his spa and we flew back the next day. And that afternoon, there was a singing bowl concert demonstration of antique singing bowls for his staff. and there was a gong concert and gong bath. And so I got to experience that in a group with well, my son, he's such a tease. I go, you know, can I go to this, Sean? And he goes, well, you'll have to ask my staff. he's in charge of his staff. He's telling me I have to ask the right supervisor if I can go. So I thought that was pretty funny. But I went, and I had, like, you know, I felt that it had brought me to such a deep spiritual home, that it was like, and then so the next day, and treatments in California are really expensive, even back then, and like 3-4 times what, you know, well, nobody was doing it in Michigan, but they were probably at least three times more than I charged when I was doing treatments, you know, through the years in Michigan. But I decided, you know, after having the group experience, I needed to have the personal experience. And then I went that much deeper. And with the practitioner who lived with the teacher, who then he became my teacher for several years. And then I kind of, I didn't do the all the homework and follow up with all his trainings. I reached a point where the bulls were transmitting to me and teaching me methods that he didn't even know how to do. And so it was time for me to just learn from the bulls. And then I was meeting Tibetan monks, and actually the Tibetan monks appreciated my sharing their teachings and sharing their history of the singing bowls. And some Tibetans in the United States I met in the early days of this work, where I'd be at trade shows, you know, and be a speaker at a trade show, and have a stand with singing bowls that I have for the public. And, you know, occasionally I'd have Tibetans in the US come up and, wow, I've never seen one this big, or I've never seen this before. And so the Tibetan monks and lamas I've known have appreciated me as just being spreading their culture was so decimated, you know. And so by my bringing more energy into their practices, that they tend to appreciate that. It's not considered like cultural appropriation. Instead it's helped keeping their teachings alive, and in some cases by teaching them. And so it's been a nice. We actually had a beautiful shared conference where I worked with a Tibetan Lama, and it was at it was up in up north Suns Bay. I forget what they call that little town, but it's where the casino is. It was at the conference center of the casino. So it was where the indigenous people of this areas, we had a ceremony one night on the Saturday night, a fire ceremony with the indigenous people of the areas and the Tibetan practices and the Tibetan Lama there. And so we were uniting the Tibetan, the East and the West indigenous people's practices. And that was very special. And I actually, if you check it out, if you want to, you can see, I have a bunch of videos on YouTube, but one of them I captured, like Lama Lomsong Palden Rinpoche. We had him videoed in that I did a concert that's on there. Parts, not the whole concert, but parts of the concert are on the YouTube. And I did a video of him doing the ancient Tibetan practices on there as well, a short video, so people could have a sense of what those practices experience of those. So feel free to check those out. It's just under my name on YouTube, and feel free not to check them out. Do whatever you want.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely week, and hopefully I'll see all of you, or as many of you as possible, next week.
So yeah, so We will send a 2-hour reminder next Thursday to you'll all get at 5 o'clock or 2 hours before whatever time you are. And then also feel free to join us if you'd like on Tuesday evening. We send an email out on Monday, which should have the link for that. And that's free. And that's where we'll be doing the master study group, where it's very informal. Just kind of, we have a little film we're going to watch and we talk about it. It's just fun and it's informal. We do some breath work. I think we might even do some chanting this Tuesday after, inspired by Mark. So feel free to join us.
Gracias.
That's no charge and we'd love to see you there. But if not, thank you, Mark, very much. We really appreciate your taking your time and effort and to share your wisdom with us. It's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you all next week.
I love your shirt, Mark.
Oh, thank you.
That is awesome.
Thank you. I always like to represent. I'm a complete slob in life.
I don't believe that.
That's most of the time. But when I'm representing the teachings of these cultures, I like to promote the clothing, the symbols of their culture as well.
That's
So,
All
nice.
right. Well, thank
Very
you.
nice.
okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Good
Well,
night,
have a great
everybody.
week, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.